नमस्कार बच्चों। कक्षा 4 हिंदी साहित्य की पाठ्य पुस्तिका में प्रथम पाठ ईश महिमा। पिछले वीडियो में हमने इस कविता की संपूर्ण व्याख्या, कठिन शब्दों का अर्थ और वाचन सभी अच्छी प्रकार से समझा और इस कविता के लेखक कवि कौन हैं वो भी हमने जाना। लक्ष्मण सिंह आर्य बेमोल इस कविता के लेखक हैं, ये हमने जाना। बच्चों, आप इस कविता को इस स्क्रीन पर जूम करके और रोक करके आप इस कविता को अपनी कॉपी में, नोटबुक में, जो आपके पिछले क्लास की कॉपी है हिंदी लिटरेचर की, आप उसमें इस कविता को लिख सकते हैं याद करने के लिए, ताकि आपके ओरल में काम आ सके। और कविता के सभी कठिन शब्दों को रेखांकित करके हमने उनका अर्थ भी लिखा है। आप याद करने के लिए उनका प्रयोग कर सकते हैं। तो अब हम इस वीडियो में आगे बात करेंगे। दूसरे पेज में मैं पृष्ठ को पलट देता हूँ और दूसरे पेज में पहला अभ्यास कार्य हम देखेंगे। लिखा है ज्ञान कोश। ज्ञान कोश में दो प्रमुख बातें दी गई हैं हमारी जानकारी के लिए। पहला है कि हमारी आकाश गंगा में करोड़ों तारे हैं। बच्चों, जो कुछ भी हमें आसमान में दिखाई देता है उसे हम आकाश गंगा कहते हैं। संपूर्ण तारे, सूर्य, चांद, जो भी ग्रह हैं वो सभी को आकाश गंगा के नाम से हम जानते हैं। तो उस आकाश गंगा में करोड़ों तारे हैं। कुछ तारे तो हमारी पृथ्वी से इतनी दूर हैं कि उनके प्रकाश को हम तक पहुंचने में लाखों वर्ष लग जाते हैं। बच्चों, रात में हमें बहुत से तारे आसमान में दिखाई देते हैं। तो उनमें से कुछ तारों की दूरी पृथ्वी से, जहां पर हम खड़े हैं, कुछ तारों की दूरी इतनी है कि उनके प्रकाश को पृथ्वी तक पहुंचने में लाखों वर्ष लग जाते हैं। अगला है हमारी पृथ्वी सूर्य के चारों ओर लगभग 1 लाख किलोमीटर प्रति घंटा की गति से घूम रही है। बच्चों, ये हम जान लेंगे कि हमारी पृथ्वी एक फुटबॉल की तरह गोलाकार है, गोल है, और वो अपनी धुरी पर 24 घंटे में एक चक्कर लगा लेती है और उसी तरह वो सूर्य की भी परिक्रमा करती है। सूर्य के चारों तरफ पृथ्वी घूमती है और इतनी गति से, स्पीड से घूमती है कि उसको सूर्य के चारों ओर गति करने में उसकी पृथ्वी की स्पीड लगभग 1 लाख किलोमीटर प्रति घंटा होती है। बच्चों, हम जानते हैं कि यदि 100 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटा की रफ्तार से कोई गाड़ी चल रही हो तो उसकी स्पीड कितनी तेज होती है, जबकि यहाँ बताया गया है कि 1 लाख किलोमीटर प्रति घंटा। अब आप इससे अनुमान लगा लें कि पृथ्वी कितनी तेजी से सूर्य की परिक्रमा करती है। 24 घंटे में इसी तरह 24 घंटे में पृथ्वी अपने केंद्र से भी एक परिक्रमा पूरा कर लेती है। तो ये दो बातें हम इस ज्ञान कोश के माध्यम से हमने सीखी। आगे बढ़ेंगे। अब आपके आते हैं शब्दार्थ, वर्ड मीनिंग। शब्दार्थ में बच्चों पहले हम इन 4 शब्द और 4 शब्दों के अर्थ जानेंगे। पहला है सृष्टि। सृष्टि को हमने कविता में भी समझा था। सृष्टि मीन्स होता है ब्रह्मांड। जो भी हम अपनी आंखों से जो कुछ भी हमें दिखाई देता है, जहाँ तक भी जो भी पृथ्वी में जो कुछ भी है, समुद्र, पहाड़, धरती, आकाश, ये सब सृष्टि कहलाता है। और सृष्टि का मतलब ब्रह्मांड। पश्चाताप। पश्चाताप का अर्थ है पछताना। कोई भी हमसे अनजाने में कोई यदि बुरा कार्य हो जाता है तो उसके लिए हमें पछतावा होता है, उसी को हम पश्चाताप कहते हैं। मेहरबान मतलब कृपालु, दयालु। मेहरबानी करना या कृपा करना, तो ये वही शब्द है, मेहरबान यानी कृपालु। नगमे मतलब गीत। नगमे का मतलब गीत। आगे 4 वर्ड मीनिंग इस तरफ दी गई हैं। पहली वर्ड 5वीं वर्ड मीनिंग है पापी। पापी का मतलब बुरे काम करने वाला। मेहर का मतलब दया। भजना मतलब जपना। तान मतलब धुन। तान मतलब धुन। तो ये 4 वर्ड मीनिंग इस तरफ और 4 इस तरफ, 8 वर्ड मीनिंग आपकी इस पाठ्य पुस्तिका में दिखाई दे रही हैं। आप इन सब को एक कॉपी में आप लिखेंगे। पहले भी मैंने बताया था कि आपकी जो भी पिछले क्लास की पुरानी कॉपी है, उसमें जहाँ से भी आपके पेज खाली हैं वहाँ से आप यह कार्य करना शुरू कर दें। तो ये आपकी वर्ड मीनिंग रही। इनको आप लिखें और अच्छी तरह याद करें। और अब हम आगे बढ़ेंगे। तो अब हम मौखिक प्रश्नों को समझेंगे। मौखिक प्रश्न का मतलब कि टीचर द्वारा पूछे गए प्रश्नों का उत्तर तुरंत देना, बोल कर देना। लेकिन बच्चों यहाँ हम क्योंकि याद करने के लिए इनको लिख लेंगे तो आसान रहेगा, क्योंकि ये प्रश्न, मौखिक प्रश्न हो सकता है कि आपके टेस्ट में लिखने के लिए आ जाएं या आए। तो एक्सरसाइज नंबर 1 है, नीचे दिए गए प्रश्नों के मौखिक उत्तर दीजिए। नंबर का भगवान, ब्रैकेट में लिखा है दाता, मतलब दाता का मतलब भगवान। भगवान ने सूरज के अलावा क्या क्या बनाया है? सूरज के अलावा भगवान ने और क्या क्या बनाया है? तो सूरज के अलावा भगवान ने चांद, तारे भी बनाए हैं, और भगवान ने पृथ्वी भी बनाई है, पहाड़ भी बनाए हैं, और समुद्र भी बनाया, नदियाँ भी बनाई हैं। सभी भगवान ने जो है ये चीज़ें बनाई है प्रकृति के द्वारा। जो भी ईश्वर द्वारा प्रकृति हमें प्रदान की गई है, तो वो सब ईश्वर की महिमा, ईश्वर की कृपा है। दूसरा प्रश्न है, ऊंचे पहाड़ टीले दुल्हन से सज रहे से क्या अभिप्राय है? तो कवि ने प्रकृति की सुंदरता का वर्णन किया है, प्रकृति की सुंदरता बताई है कि ऊंचे पहाड़ और टीले जो ईश्वर ने बनाए हैं, ईश्वर द्वारा बनाए गए हैं, वो जब सूर्य का प्रकाश उन पर पड़ता है तो वो दुल्हन की तरह सुंदर सजे हुए दिखाई दे रहे हैं। तो ये अभिप्राय इस कथन का है कि ऊंचे पहाड़ टीले दुल्हन से सज रहे हैं। तो बच्चों, ये हमारे रहे मौखिक प्रश्न। और एक चीज़ और है कि कविता लय में गाकर सुनाइए। दूसरा अभ्यास कार्य है, तो हम उस कविता को कॉपी पर लिखेंगे, पूरी कविता को, और उसको लय में गाने की कोशिश करेंगे। जब भी आप क्लास में होंगे तो अपने अध्यापक को, शिक्षक को आप कविता गाकर भी सुना सकते हैं। जब गाकर तभी आप सुनाएंगे जब आपको कविता याद होगी। और कविता को लिखने के लिए आप यहाँ से लिख सकते हैं। मैं आपको फिर से एक बार वीडियो में पूरी कविता दिखा रहा हूँ। आप इसको रोक करके इस तरह से पुश करके वीडियो को, और आप पूरी कविता अपनी कॉपी में लिख सकते हैं और उसको गा करके आप सुना सकते हैं। गाने को कविता को हम कई तरह से गा सकते हैं। मैं कोशिश करता हूँ एक 4 लाइनों को गाने की, उस तरह आप पूरी लाइनों को गुनगुनाएंगे, गाएंगे। सृष्टि रचाने वाले कितना महान है तू, दाता दया के सागर, प्राणों का प्राण है तू। सूरज बनाया तूने, चंदा बनाया तूने, तारों को रोशनी दे, नभ को सजाया तूने। सब कुछ बनाया तूने, जग का आधार है तू, दाता दया के सागर, प्राणों का प्राण है तू। पापी जो पाप करते, ना तेरा जाप करते, अपने किए कर्म पर ना पश्चाताप करते। उन पर भी मेहर तेरी, बड़ा मेहरबान है तू, दाता दया के सागर, प्राणों का प्राण है तू। बेमोल बैठे पंछी तुझको ही भज रहे हैं, ऊंचे पहाड़ टीले दुल्हन से सज रहे हैं। नगमे से बज रहे हैं, मीठी सी तान है तू, दाता दया के सागर, प्राणों का प्राण है तू। सृष्टि रचाने वाले कितना महान है तू, दाता दया के सागर, प्राणों का प्राण है तू। तो बच्चों, हम इस तरह से इस कविता को गाकर भी सुना सकते हैं। अब हम फिर से वापस चलेंगे उसी पेज पर जहाँ पर वर्ड मीनिंग दी गई हैं, और मौखिक प्रश्न भी हम समझ चुके हैं। अब हम समझेंगे 1-2 शब्दों में उत्तर। इन प्रश्नों को समझेंगे। इसके बाद दूसरे वीडियो में हम आपको आगे के एक्सरसाइज करवाएंगे। तो नंबर 4, एक्सरसाइज नंबर 4 में, नंबर 4 में नीचे दिए गए प्रश्नों के उत्तर 1-2 शब्दों में दीजिए, लिखा है। हमें उत्तर लिखने में सिर्फ 1 या 2 शब्दों का प्रयोग करना है, ज़्यादा शब्दों का प्रयोग नहीं करना। तो बच्चों, पहला प्रश्न है नंबर का कि सृष्टि की रचना किसने की है। सृष्टि मीन्स संपूर्ण ब्रह्मांड, पूरी दुनिया, आकाश, पृथ्वी, जो कुछ भी हम देख रहे हैं, तो ये सब किसने बनाया है, किसने इसका निर्माण किया है। तो बच्चों जाहिर सी बात है कि इसका निर्माण सिर्फ एक ही है जो कर सकता है, वो है हमारा ईश्वर, गॉड। तो सृष्टि की रचना किसने की है, ईश्वर ने। फिर दूसरा प्रश्न है ख नंबर, दाता ने तारों को क्या दिया है। तो दाता मीन्स भगवान ने, ईश्वर ने तारों को क्या दिया है। तो तारों को क्या दिया है भगवान ने, उनको रोशनी दी है, प्रकाश दिया है, उजाला दिया है। तीसरा प्रश्न नंबर का कि सजे हुए पहाड़ कैसे लग रहे हैं। बच्चों कई बार मैं आपको बता चुका हूँ कि ऊंचे पहाड़ टीले दुल्हन से सज रहे हैं। ये उसी लाइन से आंसर हमको मिलता है कि सजे हुए पहाड़ कैसे लग रहे हैं। तो सजे हुए पहाड़ दुल्हन जैसे लग रहे हैं। बच्चों मैंने कोशिश की है कि एक या दो शब्द का प्रयोग हो, इससे ज़्यादा शब्दों का प्रयोग ना हो। तो आपको भी इसी तरह से उत्तर लिखने हैं। एक या दो शब्दों से हम ज़्यादा का प्रयोग नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि हमें यहाँ पर एक लिमिट दी गई है, सीमा दी गई है कि हम अपनी सीमा में रह करके उत्तर लिखें। अब तो बच्चों आज की वीडियो में बस इतना ही। आगे के अभ्यास कार्यों का हम अगले वीडियो में चर्चा करेंगे, जिक्र करेंगे। अभी आप इन सबको अच्छी तरह से याद करिए और अपनी कॉपी में ज़रूर इनको लिखिए। कॉपी में लिखने से आपको ये सब अच्छी तरह याद होगा, बार बार याद करने में आपको आसानी होगी। तो आप इनको पढ़िए, अच्छी तरह घर में रहिए और बाहर मत निकलिए। घर में रह कर के ही अच्छे से इनको लिखिए और अच्छी तरह से पढ़ाई करिए। नमस्कार बच्चों।
Good morning, student. Now we have completed reading and explanation of this lesson. Now let's see the lesson in short. It means what things we have learned in the lesson. First, plants make their own food with the help of leaves. You know that leaves is the kitchen of the plant, kitchen for the plant. Leaves make food and by the process of photosynthesis. During the photosynthesis, plants take carbon dioxide, water from the roots and sunlight to make their food. Second, the basic structure of the leaf is same. It means different types of plants have different type of leaves, but the basic structure of leaf is the same in all the plants. Next, the process of making food by green plants is called photosynthesis. Plants make food by this process. This process is called photosynthesis. Green leaves are the kitchen of plants. It means plants make food in the leaves. That is why leaves called the kitchen for the plant. Animal and plants depend on each other for living. We have learned about the interdependence. Interdependence show the relation between plants and animals. It means how plants depend on the animal for food and how animal also depend on the plants for their carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide plants get from the animals or human beings. That is why we can say plants and animal depend on each other for their food. The ultimate source of all energy on the earth is sun. Sun is the main source of energy on the earth. The energy of the sun is necessary for all the living things like human beings, plants and animals. So this was your lesson. Let's revise the lesson in short. First, we see the different type of leaves. Yes, you just do identify the leaves of the plant and write the name of the plant. From which plants of this leaf? Like animal and all the living things, plants also need grow. We start the lesson from how does living things get their food and how does plant make their food. Plants make their food by own self by the process of photosynthesis. We have seen the basic structure of leaf. The basic structure of leaf of all the plants are same. It means there is a main vein, side vein and leaf plate. And in the lower surface of the leaf there are stomata. Stomata are the tiny holes which is necessary for the breathing, for taking the carbon dioxide from the environment. In the next paragraph, how plants make their food. It means how does a process like photosynthesis occur in the plant. Plants take carbon dioxide from environment and sunlight from the sun, water from the root, make together or putting together to make food in the form of glucose and starch. Starch means extra food which is stored in the stem. How does photosynthesis occur? Plants use chlorophyll, sunlight, water and carbon dioxide to make food. Here is a simple illustration to show this process occur. Look at the picture. This picture clears the how does photosynthesis occur. There is a small plant which is taking sunlight from the sun, water from the root, chlorophyll which is present in the leaves. Chlorophyll means green pigment. That is why leaves looks green. So the plants take chlorophyll from the leaves and use in the photosynthesis process and make their food. Just write the meaning of chlorophyll, underline the hard one and meaning the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll means green pigment of leaf. Chlorophyll captures the sunlight energy. This energy split the water into hydrogen and oxygen. First of all, plant take chlorophyll from the leaves and chlorophyll capture the sunlight from the sun and water into hydrogen and oxygen split the energy to all the plants, all the parts of the plants. The oxygen is released into the air. The hydrogen is used with the carbon dioxide to make glucose, means sugar. When the photosynthesis is completed, then the oxygen is released into the environment and hydrogen used with the carbon dioxide to make sugar. The glucose is moved from the leaves to other parts of the plant, where they are stored. Glucose is moved from the leaves to the other parts. It means to the stem, which store the extra food for the plant. The water in the plant's vein carries the glucose. When the glucose reaches the storage part, it changes into starch. Starch means extra food. Extra food. It means when the glucose reaches to the storage part, it converts into starch. Plants can store starch in the following parts. It means different type of plants store starch in the different part. जैसे some plants store starch into the leaves like cabbage, spinach, lettuce. Some plants store starch in the fruit, some in the stem, some are stored in seed like all the grains like wheat, rice, these are the seed. Flowers means broccoli and cauliflower. And root. Eatable root means carrot and beetroot. Okay, these are the parts of the plant in which plants store their extra food. Okay, unusual plant. Unusual plants means plants which is different from the other plants. It means these plants are specified for the special features. Like green leaves are the kitchen for the plants, but what happens when a plant does not bear green leaves? How does it make its food? Plants like cactus do not have leaves. Now we have studied green leaves are the kitchen for the plants. But what about that plant which do not have green leaf? So can we say they do not make food? So how they can live for environment? Then where is their food made? It is made in their green stem. So when the plants do not have green leaf, they can make food in the green stem. Molds and mushroom are non-green plants. They do not have chlorophyll. They cannot make their own food. Mold and mushroom are that plant which do not make their own food. It means in this plants photosynthesis does not occur. They do not make their own food. They depend on the other dead plant and animal for their food. So we can say mushrooms and molds are non-green plants because they do not have leaves, they do not have chlorophyll. Photosynthesis does not take in these plants. Croton plant. Croton plants is also a unusual plants because the leaves of some plants like croton have chlorophyll but they appear dark red in color. The leaves of the croton plant have chlorophyll, but the leaves of the croton plant look red. You can see in the picture. This croton plant have red, yellow and green leaves. But croton plants have chlorophyll. Because of excess of red pigment, the red pigment hide the green pigment of the leaf. That is why the croton leaves look red in dark. During the photosynthesis, green plants trap the sun's energy and make food. This energy is passed on the humans and animals when they eat food. In the process of photosynthesis, take sunlight from the sun, and chlorophyll trap the sun energy. When the animal eat grass or green plants, this energy is transferred to the plant to animal. So this energy passed on to the humans and animals when they eat food. It means when we cook food and then we eat, the energy of plant we get. So we can say we get energy from the food and food get energy from the sun. Interdependence. Interdependence means how do animal, plant and human being depend on each other for their food. Animals and plants depend on each other for living. Why? Because we get food from the plants, and plant get food by the photosynthesis, which is not possible for the without carbon dioxide, and plant get carbon dioxide from the environment. So we can say plants depend on the human being and animal for to complete the photosynthesis, and we depend on the plant to get food. Animal need food to eat and oxygen to breathe. Plants give animal this food and oxygen. Our basic need is food and oxygen, which is come from plant, and plant give animal this food and energy. Plant need carbon dioxide to make food, and animal breathe out carbon dioxide. This is used by the plant. It means we can say without us plant cannot live, and without plants we cannot live. We get oxygen from the plant, which is very necessary for the living, and plants also take carbon dioxide from us. Us means from the environment, which is necessary for their living. This is why fish live longer in aquarium with water plants in it than in one without plants. Now, food chain. Food chain, flow of energy. In the food chain, we see how energy is transferred from one organism to another organism. Just look at the picture carefully. This picture shows that sun is giving energy to the plant, and plant is giving energy to the deer, and deer is giving energy to the lion. It means plants take energy from the sun to make their food. Deer eat grass to get the food, and lion eat deer to get their food. So this is the food chain. How energy is passed from one organism to another organism. The ultimate source of energy on the earth is sun. Plants depend directly on the sun. They trap the sun's energy during photosynthesis and prepare food, so the plants are called producer. First of all, underline the hard word producer. Producer means who make their food by own self. By own self. Producer, which is plant. Because plant depend directly on the sun. They take sun's energy and use in to making the food. That is why plants is called producer. All animal and human beings depend directly on the sun's energy by the consuming plants and other animal as food. So all the animals being are called consumer. Consumer means who does consume. It means who does consume is called consumer. Means human being and animal, which is indirectly depend on the sun energy. We get energy from sun not directly but indirectly. Why? First of all, plant get the energy from the sun and we get the energy by eating the plants. So like this, plants is the main source of food for the human being and animal. So we can say we are indirectly depend on the plants. Thus a chain exists in nature for obtaining food. A chain that show a series of organisms where each member depend on the lower member in the series for the food is called food chain. I have explained how does food chain work. Each member of food chain depend on the lower member. It means lion is depend on the deer. Deer is depend on grass and grass is depend on sun's energy. Grass take energy from sun, deer get energy from the grass and lion get energy from the deer. So this is called food chain. If something in the food chain disappear, it causes a problem for all the other animal in the food chain. For example, if the grass die because there is no enough rain, then the deer would not have enough food to eat. If the deer starve, then the carnivores that eat them will also so hungry. It means if any member is absent in the food chain is totally break. Why? If there is no rain, so there is no grass. If there is no grass, so what does deer eat? If the deer starve, then what is the lion eat? So if the grass die because of there is no rain, no enough water, then definitely deer would not have the enough food to eat. And if the deer starve, then the lion is also would not get the food. If bird disappear, then the insects they are normally eat will increase. We know that bird eat insect. If there is no bird, then the amount of insect will definitely increase because no one is here to eat the insect. The insect will then eat too much of the plant life, causing a shortage of food for other plants eater. It means the insects will then eat too much of the plant, causing the shortage of food for the plant eater.
And southern hemisphere. Okay. Okay, children, class 4. You can take a screenshot of this page as yesterday. Today we are going to continue the rest of the portion. Okay, let us read from the top of the page. Lines or parallels of latitude circle their parallel to the equator. They are marked off at 1 degree intervals, north and south up to 90 degree north and south poles. Okay, another feature of these parallels of latitude is these lines of latitude circle the earth parallel to the equator. They are marked off at 1 degree intervals, north and south up to 90 degree north and south poles. That is another importance of this parallels of latitude. Parallels of latitude or lines, they are just imaginary lines. We have already seen that. Next one is lines of latitude run around the earth from east to west. However, they measure the surface of the earth from north to south or south to north, starting at the equator. How do they measure the earth? They measure the surface of the earth from north to south or south to north, starting at the equator. So what are the important lines of latitude? Okay, in the northern hemisphere, the tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degree north, the Arctic Circle at 66.5 degree north, and the North Pole at 60 degree north. These are the important lines of latitude in the northern hemisphere. Like that, in the southern hemisphere also there are certain important lines of latitude. Which are they? The Tropic of Capricorn at 23.5 degrees south, the Antarctic Circle 66.5 degrees south, the South Pole at 90 degrees south. These are the important lines of latitude in the southern hemisphere. In the picture you can see equator and latitude and longitude. Okay, what are the important features of parallels? Let us see. Important features of parallels. First one is all parallels are complete circle except for the North Pole and the South Pole. So what about North Pole and South Pole? These are points. These are only points. All parallels are complete circle except for the North Pole and South Pole because they are points. Second important feature of parallel is the length of the parallels decreases as we move away from the equator and toward the pole. The length of the parallels decrease as we move away from the equator and toward the pole. So what is another important feature of parallels? The length of the parallel decreases. That is opposite. Decrease. Opposite word of increase. Decrease means to become less or smaller. To become less or smaller. The length of the parallel become smaller or less as we move away from the equator toward the pole. That is the second feature of this parallel. Third one is all parallels are located at an equal distance from each other. There is no variation in the distance from each parallels. All parallels are located at an equal distance from each other. Fourth one is parallels neither touch nor cross one another. That is the fourth significance feature of parallels. What is that? They neither touch nor cross one another. They move parallel. These are some of the major features of parallels. Okay, if you have doubt, you can ask to me. Next, we are going to read and understand what about meridians. Okay, meridians are also imaginary lines running from north to south. Okay, these meridians are imaginary lines running from north to south, or lines of longitude. These lines are drawn from pole to pole. Okay, what is meridian? Meridians are imaginary lines running from north to south. It is also called longitude. Longitude is the another name for meridians. Okay. Second, as we know, to number the parallels, we start from the equator. Similarly, the same way, we need a starting point to number the meridians. So before that, we have seen how the parallels start. It starts from the equator. Like that, or same way, we need a starting point to number the meridians. Then how can we number the meridians? Let us see. In 1884, it was decided to fix Greenwich, a place near London, as the starting point for numbering meridians. The meridian that passed through Greenwich was marked 0 degree and named prime meridian. You understood? So what happened in 1884? It was decided to fix Greenwich. Greenwich is a place near London, which is the capital of England, as the starting point for numbering meridians. So they have fixed Greenwich, a place near London, as the starting point for numbering meridians. Okay, the meridian that passed through Greenwich was marked 0 degree and named prime meridian. So now you can say prime meridian is the starting point of meridians, which is starting from a place called Greenwich. Where that Greenwich located? It is a place near to London, the capital city of England. Okay, let us come to the next page. They are marked off at 1 degree intervals from the prime meridian up to 180 degrees south and west, where the line coincide. Coincide means used about events to happen at the same time or something else very similar. They are marked, or meridians are marked off at 1 degree intervals from the prime meridian up to 180 degrees south and west. Second, lines of longitude are not parallels. Lines of longitude are not parallels. They are run from pole to pole and cut the lines of latitude at a right angle. How do they run? They run from pole to pole, from north pole to south pole, like that. and cut the lines of latitude at a right angle. Another importance of meridians are they are 180 meridians toward the east of the prime meridian and 180 meridians toward the west of the prime meridians. The meridians of 180 degree east and 180 degree west is the same line. So, in total there are 360 meridians. 180 degree east meridians and 180 degree west meridians. So, total now there are 360 meridians. So how many meridians are there in the east and how many meridians are there in the west and how many are they in total? You have seen now. There are 180 meridians in the east and 180 degree meridians in the west. So in total there are 360 meridians. Okay. So let us see what are the important features of meridians now. All meridians are of the same length. That is the first important feature of meridians. What is that? All meridians are of the same length. Length is not different. Having the same length. All meridians are of the same length. Next, the maximum distance between any two meridians is at the equator. Maximum distance between two meridians is at the equator, which pass through the middle of the earth. Third one is the distance between any two meridians decreases as we move away from the equator toward the pole. What is that? The distance between any two meridians. Distance between any two meridians decreases, getting small as we move away from the equator toward the pole. So you can see equator pass through the middle of the earth and the pole will be in the north, extreme north or at the extreme south. Meridians are used to measure distance in the east-west direction. How do we measure the meridians? Meridians are used to measure distance in the east-west direction. These are some of the important features of meridians. You have to read and understand it, as well as you have to by heart it. Okay, children? So we are going to read what is locating places on the globe. Locating places on the globe. How can we locate places on the globe? Okay, with the help of this longitude and altitude. Lines of latitude and longitude form a grid. Grid is also called graticule, which form the basis of a map. Which form the basis of a map? A grid or a graticule form the basis of a map. It also helps locate the exact position or location of a place on the earth. So you have to understand what is a grid or a graticule. Grid or graticule. Grid is a form a network. Grid is a network. Form a grid network. Form a network or a framework. Grid is known as a framework or form a network which form the basis of a map. Which form the basis of a map? Grid or graticule. It help locate the exact position or location of a place on the earth. Second one is, to locate a place, we must know the value of its parallels or latitude and its meridians or longitude. So to locate a place, what else we need? We must know the value of its parallels or meridians. Value of parallels and meridians also necessary to locate a place on a globe. The point at which the parallels and the meridian cross each other is the location of that place. The point at which the parallels and the meridians cross each other. You can see the picture of globe and the parallels and meridians, how they cross each other. See in the globe how the parallels and meridians cross each other. It is the location of that place which you want to locate. So such a way we can locate places on the globe. So what all things are necessary to locate a place on the globe? First we need a grid or graticules which form the basis of a map. Second one is, we must know the values of its parallels and its meridians. The point at which the parallels and meridians cross each other is the location of that place. Such a way we can locate places on the globe. Please read and understand this portion and ask your doubt if you have. Today we have learned the important lines of latitudes, the important lines in the northern hemisphere and the important lines in the southern hemisphere, and important features of parallels and meridians. And we have seen the prime meridian which start from the Greenwich, a place near London. And also we have seen that there are 180-degree east meridians and 180-degree west meridians, and the total number of meridians are 360. Also we have seen important features of meridians and locating places on the globe. Okay children, we can do some homework for tomorrow. So in your exercise part, tick the correct answer. The first one, the important imaginary line around the earth is A, the Tropic of Cancer, B, Tropic of Capricorn, C. Equator. D. None of these. The important imaginary line around the earth. What will be the answer? Equator is the correct answer. Equator, C. Second, lines of latitude circle the earth parallel to the dash. क्या आएगा? Answer is prime meridian. Lines of latitude circle the earth parallel to the prime meridian. Third, the part of the earth above the equator is called North Pole. Fourth one, the prime meridian passes through a place called, today we have seen it, Greenwich, near London. Next, fill in the blank section. Second question, the end point of the axis are called dash. The end point of the axis are called poles. We have seen that there are northern poles and southern pole. Third, physical globe show landscape like dash and dash. What is the answer? Physical globe shows landscapes like mountains and rivers. Page number 6. Fourth question. Imaginary lines running from north to south are called dash. Page number 7. Meridians. Imaginary lines running from north to south are called meridians. Fifth question, fill in the blanks. Lines of latitude and longitude form a dash. What is the answer? Today we have seen it. Grid, G-R-I-D. Grid is the answer. Okay, C. Write true for T for true and F for false statement. First question.